little weekly breakout here for Boeing here on the weekly chart. You can see that we opened and closed above this upper trend line here, but we are up against this 200 SMA here on the weekly, which is right up against that 188. You can see that we hit a high in here of about 187.50, so close enough to that 200 SMA to kind of say, hey, guess what? It looks like we're going to be rejecting up here. We closed at 185.46 on the week. That is basically right up against a little bit of above where our major resistance was that we were talking about in here. What that's 185, so about 46 cents higher than that 185 range. Next up, as far as resistance wise, besides this 200 SMA that we just mentioned, we are going to be looking up here right around that 196 level, and then above that, a nice 200 psychological level before we have to worry about the 216s all the way up here. Now, support wise, this lower trend line we have to kind of worry about. So depending on how far we're going to gap up or gap down on Monday's trading session, and then early this week, kind of see what the whole market is going to dictate for us. This lower trend line is going to be something we're going to be watching. That's right around that nice 179, 180 level. So you got about dollar channel in there to kind of play with, and it's a nice psychological level, that 180, right? But really, it's kind of 179. But that whole area, that's going to be something that we're going to be looking for. Below that, we're looking at the 173s, and then below that, this 9-day EMA here on the weekly chart is going to be something that we're going to watch. That's at 169. Now, our RSI is growing up a little bit, and we did have a nice green week in here for the weekly, as you can see, but we're on some lower volume in here, so we got to keep that in mind. So this 200 SMA might be a bigger problem for us going forward than we actually did expect, but all in all, we are above that upper trend line in here on a breakout. You can see on the daily chart what we did for the week in here. You can see that we almost went and stayed below that lower trend line. That's where we're kind of opened here back on that 430 day where we had that low 177.63, but then we ended up closing at 183.24. So nice recovery there in there on the day. But again, on the daily chart, everything kind of still stands. You can just kind of see where the volatility was for the past week or so. You have a gap in here that we have to fill all the way back down to the 164s. That's if this lower trend line does not get respected as a support. Or I'm sorry, it's the upper trend line, but now it's going to be below where we're trading. So this previous upper trend line, that's going to, if that gets breached and is no longer respected as a support, then below that, it is going to be that 172, 173 area. And then this 200 SMA, which is going to be right around where we need to kind of fill our gap in here on the daily chart. If we go into the 30-minute chart here, you kind of see what happened on the day. Just kind of took off for the day, right? Had a little lull in here at the end of the day. And then obviously that last 30-minute candle just took everything down with it. So that last 30-minute candle, you went from a high of 186.94 to a low of 185.32, and we ended up closing at 185.46. So basically, we were only up around $2.50 on the day, although we were trading significantly higher throughout that trading day. Now, coming up in here in the next few weeks or so, you don't have a whole lot of IV for your options expirations. Your IV rank in here is only at 12. You have right around a $5.60 expected move by this Friday. Next Friday, your monthly expiration right around a $9. If you go all the way out to June, right around a $15 expected move in here. So you have low IV. Obviously, that's going to happen when you have 4 weeks of just green in here. So a little bit of contraction IV. It's getting shaky up here by this 200 SMA. So watch that. If we cannot breach this and confirm a hold, and then we might need a little bit of a pullback in here, watch for the 180s or 179 in here on the weekly for a nice support to see if we're going to respect this previous upper trend line as our new support and lower trend line. And then below that, we're looking down here right around that 172, 173, and we're going to see if we can get some IV back in here. But all in all, we're confirmed a breakout here on the weekly on some low volume though, but watch out for this 200 SMA on the weekly chart. That's going to be the big area. 188 is where we're looking at in here. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you're interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.